Hello, my dear viewers. May the grace of Lord Jesus Christ and the blessings of the Mother Mary be upon you. Today, we're going to be doing a basic introduction to the argument from motion by St. Thomas Aquinas. So first, we're going to start off with our definitions, the formulations of the argument, and then the refutations that people commonly object with. The definitions. Change for motion is nothing else than the reduction of something from potentiality to actuality, meaning that it's just something going from potential to actual. It's granted to us by St. Thomas Aquinas from the Summa Theologica, Book 1, Question 2, Article 3. I answer that. Actus purus, or pure act, just means that which has no potential and does not change, and is the essential property of God. Essence, what a thing is and its properties. Infinite causal regress, an infinite chain of causes for the universe with no first actualizer. Now here's a formulation of the argument. Premise 1. Change exists in the natural world. Premise 2. If a being changes, it is actuality outside of its own essence. Premise 3. A being cannot change itself. Premise 4. There can't be an infinite causal regress of movers. Conclusion. There must be a being with no potency, which is pure act. Conclusion 2. A being which is pure act, we call God. So, premise 1, most people will agree with, this change exists in the natural world. Premise 2 is where people start to disagree. Now, we say that if something changes its actuality outside of its essence, what does that mean? We're saying that the thing that actualizes it is outside of its own existence. Premise 2 is where it gets a little iffy, where we say that if a being changes, it is actuality outside of its essence, meaning that the thing that's actualizing the potential is outside of what the thing is itself. And this lines up with premise 3. A being cannot change itself. Now, people very commonly disagree with premise 3. But as seen forth with the law of non-contradiction, for something to change another, it has to be in a state of actuality. If you were to be in a state of potential, you could not actualize that potential yourself because you wouldn't be in a state of actuality. If you were both at the same time, it would violate the law of non-contradiction and therefore just be false. Premise 4. There can't be an infinite causal regress of movers. We say this with a basic analogy. If I have my phone plugged in and there's an infinite long cord, it would never get to the power source, it would never get to the outlet, so my phone would never charge. But it's obviously the case that the universe does exist, therefore chain cannot be infinite, and we arrive at a first mover. The conclusion: there must be a being with no potency, which is pure act. So if we're saying that the universe had potency, right, and then it began to exist, there was an actualizer, that thing does not have potential, because we would just go like on an infinite causal chain, and as we already know, an infinite causal chain is illogical from the prior premise. Therefore, the being would have no potency and would be pure act. Now, conclusion 2. A being which is pure act we call God. In classical theism, anything that just is pure act and does not have potential, that's simply just an essential property of God. So if we grant that being has it, that being would just be God. So now we'll just go on to some common refutations. Why must the being be eternal? Now if we go back, we see that the being is pure act. Now, when we say that it's pure act, we'd say that it has no potential, right? So, therefore, God would have no potential to begin existing or to stop existing, and thus be eternal. B, theory of time. This basically says that like the past, present, and future are equally real. This does not refute first way at all, because there would still be a necessary mover for the universe. It doesn't disprove anything. I mean, obviously, classical theists hold to a theory of time, but even if we grant it for the sake of the argument, it doesn't refute the fact that there still has to be a mover. The temporal account for change. It grants a presupposition that when we say potency to actuality, it's like instantaneous. Aquinas refutes this just by saying that it is a constant. It's a constant change. It's a development. It's not one moment the seed turns into a tree. It's that it's a constant development into the tree. The actualization of the potential is always happening from the moment that the potential is being actualized. The actualization is always occurring. So my dear viewers, thank you for watching. This is my first more so long form educational video I've done on St. Thomas Aquinas. If you have any questions about what I went over, make sure to ask me in the comments. I'll reply shortly. And if you hear any other refutations, or you have heard any other refutations for the argument, make sure to let me know, and I can help you. So I see, goodbye, and may the grace of Lord Jesus Christ and the blessings of the Mother Mary be upon you.